loosely constructed seat, perhaps elevated. I feel like this is helpful um, to work with the legs one at a time. Just pause and be still. That's the first thing we ask ourselves. That sigh I just made, just let go of what has been. Come into this time for healing, wellness, quiet, stability, and peace. So many things we can bring into our lives in this time we take on our mats. Loosely constructed seated pose. And taking your leg that is closest to you, please sit tall. So this is a preparation for boat pose. We're going to sit tall. Take out that leg, weave your fingers, thumbs wide. So you support your leg and it also is active and reaching through the toes. So use the arms here for support of the leg and finding a nice tall spine. Listen to your breathing. Just keep coming back to that breath throughout practice. Draw back on your toes. You can bend your knee here. Feels good. Just stretch the underside of your foot a little bit. Keep your one leg boat pose going. Stay tall, lifted heart. And relax. Ankle circle. Just gaze upon your joint. Move it. Be aware of it. Take care of it. Move to your knee with loving awareness a time or two, closing and opening your hinge. So that when that's closed, it's very safe. And you move from your hip to release externally. Guiding that leg into a really stable position. Other side, sit tall, interlace. Thumbs wide, activate and point your toes. Not too much, just the right amount. So that, give that over today to you to consider as you practice is what's right for me, which choice is right for me right now. And draw back on your toes a little bit, maybe the knee bends. Stay committed to your lifting heart. Relax, gaze at your ankle, turn it a few times in both directions. Marvel at it. Be grateful for it. Come to stillness. Hold your knee once or twice if it feels good to open and close, or just seal it in. Rotate from your hip, bring down your foot. Allowing yourself to feel more settled in seated position. And a little awakened in your core from that little boat pose preparation. So bring your hands to your legs for a moment and let's just be quiet except for breathing sound. Stillness. Trying to just be instead of doing anything. Let your breath stretch as you relax. Hands relaxing. Just one more time. Drawing the breath deeply in, expand rib cage. Through the nose breath with sound. Exhale to the center of your body, navel towards the spine, gently in and up. Another breath, just the rib cage. Focus. Exhale back to the center. Stay grounded with your navel lightly engaged and bring your arms up, your shoulders down. Ground into the earth with your legs. For Brahmari, the B breath. This is a breath that can help us bring down any anxiety, to ground us and calm us. It uses vibration, and the simple variation of it, we just close the ears lightly and then come around your head with your hands. Just find a position where you can just hold your skull, cradle that skull, that precious thing in your hands. Lightly close the flips of your ears when we begin. Exhale 3 times with some sound, just like a humming sound. So that's the B breath, why it's called that. Inhale deeply. When your process is complete, just rest a moment, be present with how that feels. Vibration and long exhalations. Calming. Open up your eyes. Please bring your hands to your heart and just come forward slightly or deeply. Just have a little moment with yourself. So it's okay. It's part of the limbs of yoga is to study yourself. Self-study, svadhyaya, svadhyaya. Fun word. One of the niyamas. Just try to be present with your experience today. Whatever resonates in your heart with that request. Rise up, breathe in. Come over to the right side for look back twisting pose. Hand behind, hand reaching across. So we do this one a lot. We might just come in habitually. Please come mindfully. Remember to bring your whole spine into rotation from the bottom up. To that look back the eyes. To let your belly be relaxed so you can breathe in the twist. Cultivating mindfulness. 2 more breaths. Exhale once more, stay. Release and come over to the other side. If you want to switch the cross of your legs, you may. So we might feel ready to get moving and you can go with that energy, belly, heart, head. Use your hands for support, look back, twist. So we're balancing our inhales and exhales. Balancing effort and ease. Noticing our own tendencies. 1 more breath out. And release back to center when you are ready. Fingers forward, hands back. Come to the soles of your feet. You can still be on your blanket, that's fine. Preparation for perfect Tanasana. Press the earth as if you're going to lift your hips, but you don't have to lift. Just really find that pressing action. Straighten out your arms in this one. Find a downward gaze as you lift your heart. This is a front body pose. And exhale, relax, release. Coming around to your hands and knees, please. To warm up our spines in the cat and cow flow. Let you draw up your navel. Cushion your knees if you need that. Try to find a position for your hands and wrists that feels good for this pose and downward dog to come. So spreading the fingers. Can you feel the balls of your hands? That took me a while yesterday in practice to just try to find that part of my hands because I don't usually think about it. And then relax the balls of your hands. Let the hands take all of that and distribute it out throughout. Active pressing activates the muscles of the chest so you don't collapse. Then spread your shoulder blades wide. Breathe in and round your spine. Cat spine with wide shoulder blades. Breathe in. Breathe out, come to cow spine with squeezing shoulder blades. The low back is flat. Don't dip your belly down far. Again, inhale, broaden. Tuck your chin, tuck your tail. Gently extend your tail and your head and squeeze your shoulder blades. 1 more time. And a squeeze. Tuck your toes underneath. And let's walk back carefully to soul stretching pose to your own degree. So use your arms for support and just coming back gently Hips towards the heels, toes tucked under. You can come up and reset if your toes feel stuck or weird. Patient. One more breath. And walk your hands out. Keep your toes tucked and come over to the right with both arms. Latissimus release. If you need to make a choice to release your toes sooner than later, make that choice. Honor your body and what it says. Go into forward fold calmness. Ground your brain. One more exhale. Gently lengthen that side of your body. Inhale, rise up, release your feet. Spin your hands out a little bit or a lot. Let's take a lion's breath. Deep breath in. Open your mouth, release. Press your hands. Use your whole body. And relax. Latissimus pose, second side, toes tucking, arms both to the left, head bowing all the way down. 5 breaths. Using breathing to release bodily tension as well as mental tension. Stabilizing and calming. See how you respond to these different energies of the practice. One more breath out. Back to center. Let's come up to downward dog with a lion's breath. So find your hand position. Press, lift your knees. Maybe your knees stay bent, and that's fine. Bring down your head. So we always do this one. You know, the one that you can bring down your knees is always there if you need that one. Oh, I forgot the lion's breath. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Relax and breathe 5 times. Press earth, low belly up. Does it feel nice to be focusing on stability and stillness? Does that feel nourishing for you today? One more exhalation. Inhale, bend your knees, look between your hands. Exhale there. Use those strong legs, straighten them out and step forward. Come to half lift pose, continuing to breathe in. Exhale, fold forward wherever you are with forward fold standing. Just let your body release into that shape. Stand up, rise, reach. Extended spine. Keep reaching your arms. Maybe rise up to the balls of your feet. Stretch out your hands. When you come to exhale, settle down into Tanasana for a moment. Mountain pose. Organize yourself so your body feels easeful, centered. You can breathe well. Take your arms up, side bend over to the right side. Gently catch your wrist or your hand. Optional to add that crossover position with the leg. Breathe deeply with the downward gaze. Trying to stay really present. Another way we can respond to practice sometimes is to kind of check out. We're really trying to drop in. Push ourselves just a little bit. That can help counter that tendency to practice without a lot of noticing. Over to the other side, the crossover added optionally once you're ready. If that feels good in your body. So don't let yourself go back or forward here, just right over to the side. Relax your shoulders down. Where you hold tension in your body, Make sure you take care of it. Your pose. One more breath out. And inhale up to center. Bring down your arms. When you exhale, release your legs. A sense of readiness, a little lightness for Surya Namaskar. Standard A, 2 times, just so we know exactly what we're doing. A little variation with plank pose. So you can really focus on how you experience this practice. An attitude of can do is helpful to put in place. Here we go. Inhale up to the sky with reach. There's lots of time to get from one to the next. Exhale, forward fold. It's not rush. Halfway lift, not holding back, not forcing. Exhale back to plank pose or chaturanga. You want to add the elbow bend to any degree. Inhale to upward facing dog. Take an extra breath if you need. Tuck your tailbone under. And exhale, downward dog, which might have knees down or legs straight. 5 counts as you breathe steadily. Not holding back from sensation. Exhale. Inhale to the front of the mat and half lift pose. Exhale to the forward fold. Inhale, use your legs to stand up. Exhale, arms into the sides of your body. Inhale up. Exhale down. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, going back. Plank pose or chaturanga. Upward dog, press the arms straight, or cow spine. Return to your down dog choice. Breathe steadily. So if you feel kind of like overwhelmed, can be a response to life, to the holidays. If you kind of wish it was over, encourage yourself to work just a little more deeply with the poses. Don't hold back. Don't be lazy with them. So if that resonates, see if you can work just a little more deeply on your downward dog. Inhale to the front of your mat. Exhale, forward fold. And up to standing. Release down. Pause in mountain, relaxing the feet. Feel this concentration, readiness. Try to stay present. Bend your knees, bring your elbows and hands together. Elephant pose, open footprints, hips low. Squat position, 5 breaths. How low can you go? Participate fully. One more breath, and then press those feet, legs are strong. Return to your heart center. Lifted elbows, increase the prana. Then step to the right, spread your arms wide. This reach across with the heart, and these transitions feel so good for opening there. Over to triangle to the right, turn out your foot, come over and down. So if you know the poses, come on in and you can work longer. If you are building your practice and coming in a little more slowly, that is fine too. So now I'll start the 5 count. check in with stability in this pose, those grounded feet, firm legs, belly center. Up and out, other side, reach your arms so that belly center is a grounding position. Come over it when you are ready. So just be mindful when you do. Make your refinements, reach up and down with a long neck. Stability. Do you have a tendency to maybe hold on, to have frustration? Try to soften yourself too. So it's knowing whether you need to soften, to stabilize, or to work as hard as you can. Maybe a little bit of each. Coming up, breathing in, stretch the arms wide, wide parallel feet. Breathe out, bring your hands together behind your back. Weave your fingers, draw your hands down towards the floor to squeeze your shoulder blades. And bring your chin towards your chest. Try to stretch, squeeze your shoulder blades together here. One more breath. Relax, release. Hold your elbows opposite and come to forward fold, bravely extending out. Perhaps the knees are bending. Come to the forward fold, just trying to keep the heart gently open. Head towards the floor. What do you really feel here upside down? I feel my lips responding to the change of positions. Just observe what you feel. Work in the right place for your body. Make good choices and activate your feet and legs to come up. Exhale. Upright again. Warrior B, facing the back of the mat with the right leg turning out and bending over ankle. Find your open-hearted, fierce warrior B pose, reaching fingers together and soften. Turn your head onto your right fingertips. Breathe 5 times. Scanning the entire body. One more exhalation. Over to the other side, press off, turn it out, bend your knee. So do you need that? Remind yourself to bring your shoulders down up your ears. To find your steady eyes. Mindfully hold your knee in a centered position. To soften the soles of your feet. Just one more breath. Applying a little bit more of what you need here. Inhale, release your arms down and come over to the other side for extended side angle pose. So same position as warrior B with the legs. Lean and reach when you are ready. So hips to the side. Come to the floor if you like. So this is where I need to work to make it challenging for myself. So work where you're a little challenged here. This is not easy pose. Try to keep your hips low, maybe tuck your tailbone. My arm was low. Try not to let your arm be too low. One more breath. Up and out, work your way out. Turn over to the front side of your mat with your knee bending out again for the second side. From warrior B, the leading and reaching. Maybe come down to the outside of your foot. Hips low, tail tuck. Don't hold back. Fourth breath. One more. Feel how inhale energy helps us come up and out where it makes sense. And come to goddess pose, stay to that side of your mat, toes turning out. Let's come to a side lunge. So bring your right knee out towards your toes. Bring that hand behind your skull. Turn your other toes towards the front of the mat. And then bring up your stop sign. 5 breaths. Ubaya Mudra, the symbol of protection, fearlessness, your ability to create healthy boundaries in your life. Other side, relax, release. Those 4 actions, 4 limbs. Other side, find your side lunge. Nice tall spine, add the hand behind. Toes turn towards the back of the mat and the hand comes into Ubaya Mudra. One more exhale. Release those actions. Find your way to the front of your mat. So we're not judgmental with our self-study, are compassionate. Forward hip poses, warrior A position, big step back, bring out your front knee. You can use your hands at your sacrum to encourage your low back to be long. So just bring your hands on either side of your pelvis in the back and just there's a little tail tuck energy there. See if your hands feel nice there, if that feels useful, builds awareness. Change your arms to your heart or reaching up, 5 breaths. Stability, softness, and not holding back. And release down your hands. And just transition to the front of your mat with some care. Other side, Virabhadrasana, A. Hands to sacrum. Fingers down so the pinkies are together. Feel that stretch across your heart as you find your foundation. Feel that settling after a couple breaths. And then come into your expression of the pose for today. Breathe 5 times. Lifting the back arch. One more breath where you want to be working. Follow exhale energy up and out. Push it out. Top section of your mat or by a wall, something stable. Good work on dancer today. I haven't done this one in a little while. Their half moon work. Coming to your right leg. There's a little bendiness in that standing leg that can help you balance. Just practice that a moment. And preparation, bring your heel towards your hip, catching your ankle or foot. You can do that with one or both hands. Downward gaze. So it's especially nice to have something there for reference if you need it, so you don't have to come out. How does your body respond to this? Try to concentrate very deeply. Second one, if you'd like to lean forward and reach out with the back knee. Third breath. Just one more, stay if you can. And try to release with some slowness if possible, otherwise just bring down your leg quickly. Without judgment, release and stop and feel the difference in your legs, in your body, maybe your spine, your arm, chest. Second side, shifting weight. So this miracle of brain and body coming together here to make this possible for us to ask our bodies to do this. So that shift, try a little of the bendy in that standing leg. Bring your heel towards your hip, one or both hands. Have your support if needed. Downward eyes. Let's try to close that gap, stretching the front of the leg, also across the chest. And exhale, second one. Stay or lean forward, lift the knee. Counterbalance with your opposite arm. Steady gaze. Your ankle presses into your hand to create a bow shape in your spine. A little bit of a back bend. One more breath. I'm going to try to straighten my leg a little more since I had it really bendy. Whatever you want to try to add, and then the slow release if possible. Pause and feel. Just doing your best and then letting yourself feel empowered by what you have practiced. Building strength and fortitude. Trying to come to the earth. Inhale, arms wide open, reach up, gaze up. Exhale, wide arms. Catch the backs of the legs and fold in 5 breaths. Yogi's choice here, standing forward, fold. Ragdoll. Hands under the feet. What's your favorite? Building positive patterns. One more. Exhalation. Release your hands. Come back to lizard lunge with the right leg going back. So arms come on the inside and the knee and toes track towards each other. So lots of variations abound here. Use your arms like plank pose. Your back knee can come down or not. You can roll the outside edge of that bent front leg. You can lower your torso on your arms. So another moment for exploration, and we'll hold steady for 5. Where do you feel positive? Choice for today. Steady your eyes into a soft gaze. One more exhalation. And a careful release up and out to the other side. Take some time. Observe how you feel so your body can teach you how to practice this next time. Make sure you work at an appropriate depth with this side. Be very creative with this one. Okay, 5 breaths steady. One more exhalation. Inhale carefully up and out. Bring back your foot. Come to heart chakra pose. From kneeling, apply your cushion if you need it under your knees. And then here we try to keep the knees over the hips. It's where I feel challenged. I always want to bring my hips back towards my heels. So walking out, letting your heart come down, keep your hands spread and your elbows lifted. This is not a very easeful pose for everybody. Your head can rest on the floor. 5 breaths. Just try to let your heart soften down. Some poses you'll have to concentrate very strongly. And then inside of that, try to find softness. Just one more exhale. Try to release your heart towards the earth. Relax down your elbows and bring your hands together. Tuck your toes under and come to Dolphin Pose. You can squeeze your hands or keep them flat. Downward dog, forearms, 5 breaths. Try to press your forearm bones into the earth. And find your Uddiyana Bandha, flying upward low belly. Walk out your feet and come to your belly. You can use your knees down if needed. Just lower and release your feet. Rock your pelvis side to side. So you have room for your low back. Come out onto your belly. Walk out your arms. Opposite reaching, right leg, left arm. 5 breaths. Neutral neck. Ground to lift. Exhale, relax, release, go all the way soft. Inhale, activate, reach the limbs opposite. One more time. Relax, release. Sit your legs and feet up. Hands come by your chest, hug your elbows in. Cobra Pose, 5 breaths. Lift your heart off the floor. So you can lift up higher if it feels good. So you don't have to hold back. But you don't have to do anything that you shouldn't do for your body either. So let's count 5. Not holding back, not forcing. Concentrate very deeply. Come down carefully, maybe engage Mula Bandha a little bit to come down. Half frog pose, left side. Bring your knee along the floor beside you. Turn your head and you may bring your torso over towards the left as well. Yin pose, a minute or so of softness. Try to keep your mind still as well as your body. By concentrating on stillness in the body, give the mind a project. Soft, receptive eyes. This one can be practiced for long periods of time if you need to. If it feels good, you can do it for 15 minutes. Put something soft under your knee. Come on out with some slowness and come to the other side. Giving yourself this time for your Svatiyaya, your self-study in half frog, second side. Carefully arranging your body and then focusing on stillness. Groundedness. The energy of the season is grounded, is downward energy. You strengthen that by focusing on our groundedness during this time that is naturally grounding. Fall into earth. So that when it's windswept, we have our feet on the ground. Soften, surrender, another breath. With slowness, release back to center. Making your way to a seated position. Upward dog, downward dog. With determined press, prepare your hands, bring them in so they feel really strong as you press up. Or just come through and sit down. But remember not to hold back. Come through, sit down, bring your blanket under your pelvis if you like. For fire lux pose. So we start with easy pose. Elevated pelvis is fine. Sit up tall, find your axial extension. Press down on the top of your head and then lift your skull up into your hand. Press up. And release. Nice tall spine. Then starting to work the legs away. Straightening your feet a little bit. And you may stack your shins or just have the feet come away. Adding some forward folding is an option as well. So we're all going to work very precisely with our own knees and hips. No knee straining, only coming from hips. 5 breaths when you are ready. Notice your tendencies. It's okay. Oh, I tend to close my eyes. But I'm thinking that might be kind of checking out, so I'm trying not to close my eyes so much today. What is yours? What's your practice? One more exhale in this shape. Grateful for what it has taught you. Come up and out. And with care and some slowness, come to the other side. Making that choice that's healthy for your knees and hips and spine on this side. So just bring your easy pose, feet and legs out away from you. Maybe adding the stacking. It feels all right. Maybe a little forward hinge from the hips. 5 breaths. Stillness, softness. Last one. Take your time to come out. Lean back and release. Back to Tanasana. We did the preparation earlier. This elbows in, fingers forward, soles of the feet on the earth. Press, straighten your arms, look down. Option to lift up. You can keep your knees here, feet here with your knees bent, or you can let your legs be straight in this pose. So press your hands and feet to lift. So this is fine. Just come off the earth with your hips. Lift out of your shoulders. If you can get your hips up to tabletop, do that. Take your head back only if it feels good. Keep your chin tucked for, just to be sure. Maybe out with the legs. 5 breaths. Stretching the front of the body. One more time. Come down carefully. Bring your feet together and your knees apart. And gradually rock side to side and forward to Baddha Konasana. Feel the energy shift. 1. 1 more exhale. Breathe in, rise, straighten out your right leg. Pujana, keep the other leg bent. So you can go all the way to 90 degrees before you head out over your straight leg. Find your own expression. If you're catching your foot, it's the opposite hand that does the reach across. So the same side hand is first. Unique can be all the choices. Relax your head down. Very slowly inhale. And exhale. Changing sides. Release. There's a little gratitude as you come out. Let each pose teach you. Be patient with it. You can be grateful it's over sometimes. Whatever you feel, just notice. Second side, 5 breaths. Not forcing your body, creating no harm. That's the first teaching, ahimsa. Last breath out. Inhale, rise up. And please take a moment to get together your shavasana props, your socks or long sleeves, anything cozy like for the finishing part of practice. You want to keep the warmth that you have now, that energy. Coming to the back of your body. When you are ready, finding the center of your skull, soles of your feet, just settle into a constructive rest position, the knees bent. Feel where your spine touches the earth, where it doesn't. Would you like your palms to be up or down? Where do your arms feel good? Where do they feel good? Where do your arms feel good? Bring them there. Let them be there for 5 breaths. Focus on breathing. Deeply. Use your whole rib cage. Slow breaths. And now the option to lift your hips up. Maybe your arms will change for that lift up for 5 breaths. So work into where your arms feel good here. Maybe that interlace like we did standing earlier. We squeeze your shoulder blades together. 5 breaths. Applying just the right amount. Maybe the tailbone is tucking under. The feet learn to press and come down. Let your arms come out of the way if they are under you. Land, relax. Bring in your right leg and stretch your left one out. Squeeze that knee towards your chest. Stretch it out overhead. Support behind like we did earlier with the woven fingers. Thumbs wide. And then bringing it across the body for knee down twist. Mindful. Remember how we were mindfully coming to our seated twist. So here we have the foundation of the spine and the pelvis. Come around so that this feels good in your hip and your spine. So you can bring your knee to the floor or support. I'm just gonna prop my leg up with my toes in that spot. And then turn your head, reach out your arms. You can use one hand on your leg for that holding and guiding. Soften. One more breath. Be very full with the experience of breathing in, finding that sweet spot in the pose, and then saying goodbye, breathing out slowly. Return to your back. Bring both knees in, Tanasana. Keep the left knee. Straighten out your right leg. Then straighten out your left leg, holding the fingers together behind. Release your knee folding in on itself. Knee down, twist pose, guide it across. Make decisions about this side of your body that protect and take care of your spine and your pelvis, your hip. Turn your head away when you're ready and relax as much as you can. Try to find that sweet place where this pose feels beneficial to you. Following exhalation back to your back body and finishing practice with some upside down time. So lots of choices. Come on in if you want to come into plow or shoulder stand or legs up and you already know that. But we are exploring ourselves a little bit. What do we want to do versus what's most therapeutic for us? Maybe factor that in a little bit as you make your choice. Hips can stay on the ground perfectly fine. Just let your legs be upside down. If you enjoy lifting up, lift up. Keep your skull centered. Just doing a half shoulder stand. It's a thing. Ardha Shalamba Shardandasana. It's okay to do half. Two more breaths with your choice. Slow breaths. Carefully come down. Resist so that you come down slowly. Apanasana, bring your knees to your chest. Shavasana, stretch out your legs, add your supports and comforts, and receive some rest. This also is a constructive resting pose where we hold the body in a way that allows us to not do anything for a little bit. So be very aware here. If you have a lot of sensation in your back body, you could put a blanket underneath you, or if it's cold, but also not doing more than you need to, so that you can just receive the rest, receive the information of the practice. The first part here is noticing your body so that it may release. That process can take a little while. Once it feels like you can be still, be still. Let your hands and feet relax. Are your shoulders drawing away from the ground? Let them rest downward. Ask them to press down to the ground. Releasing all efforts in the body. Allowing our brain to take the driver's seat on the breathing again. And perhaps notice what helps you stay here. Where do you go? Where does your awareness go? You feel like you want to leave the pose, if you want to rush away from it, double down on being still, being grounded, focusing on steadiness. Let your body feel really heavy. plenty of time and space. How will you know the difficulties of being human if you're always flying off to blue perfection? Where will you plant your grief seeds? We need ground to scrape and hoe, not the sky of unspecified desire. Invite yourself to release your stillness and return to your seated pose, taking your time. Perhaps observe how you do this. Try not to be habitual about it, but to truly notice the process, choosing the path that you enjoy today, that feels right as you gradually return to that beginning place, circling back. Weaving your fingers together in your lap in the gesture of new beginnings. Gently sitting tall. Feeling what an hour of yoga time feels like. And bring one of your hands to your forehead and wrap the other one around the back of your skull. Just remembering that as we transition back to a doing, that this energy hold is always available to help bring down the heat. Everything gets too hot. Frustration, all that. And the cooling breath. Breathing through your teeth or with a rolled tongue, inhaling. Exhale, nose, feel that hot breath out the nose. One more time, Sitali, the cooling breath. Even has its place in the cold weather. Exhale, nose. Relax, release, and feel. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions about all that philosophy I was trying to weave in there, let me know. I find it pretty fascinating just to explore my own tendencies. It's a good reminder. Hey, River's waking up too. Oh, no, he's going back down to rest. Hi, Deborah. Nice to see you today.
I have a question about lizard lunge.